My mom stayed with us for 3 days. My husband spent all 3 slamming doors and smashing dishes. I put up with it until his mom announced she was moving in. That night, I packed my suitcase without hesitation. He stopped me, stunned. "What kind of stunt are you pulling?" "My mom gets here tomorrow." I looked at him calmly and said just one thing: "I'm helping you. I want you to know what it feels like to get the cold shoulder, to have every day feel endless." He was instantly speechless. His pupils tightened. "Ting Ting, Mom brought you a few things from home." She smiled almost apologetically. The wrinkles around her eyes bunched together. I hurried over. Taking the heavy bags from her, I said, "Mom, you didn't need to bring all this. It's so heavy." Before I could finish, Jiang Cheng walked out of the master bedroom. He didn't even look at my mother. He headed straight for the couch, picked up his phone, and acted as if the entire world had shrunk to that glowing screen. My mother's smile froze. She nervously rubbed her hands together, then whispered, "That's Jiang Cheng, right?" "Yeah," my heart sank. I forced a smile. Putting an arm around her, I said, "Mom, sit down, I'll get you some water." I guided her onto the couch. She perched on the very edge, her back ramrod straight. Her hands clutched a faded, well-worn mug, like it was her only lifeline. Jiang Cheng sat across from her, legs crossed and propped on the coffee table. His fingers flew across his phone. The sound felt jarring in the deathly quiet room. All afternoon, he never greeted her. He never even looked her in the eye. My mother acted like a child who'd done something wrong. She even tiptoed to the bathroom, as if flushing might disturb the self-appointed king of the house. Early the next morning, I got up at 6. Jiang Cheng was already in the kitchen. He was carefully frying 2 golden eggs. Oil crackled in the pan, filling the kitchen with the sounds of home, but none of its warmth. I walked over. "Could you make one more? My mom likes eggs for breakfast." He didn't look up. His hands kept moving as he plated the 2 eggs. Then he said coldly, "We're out!" My heart felt crushed in an invisible fist. 2 beautiful Western-style breakfasts with milk, toast, and fried eggs sat before Jiang Cheng and me. My mother held a glass of plain water. Sitting off to the side, she smiled. "You 2 eat. I'm not hungry this morning. Water's all I need." But as she spoke, I saw her throat move. It was the instinctive swallow of someone who was hungry. My eyes instantly burned with tears. I pushed my plate toward her. "Mom, you eat this." No, she hurriedly pushed it back. Her voice was flustered. "Honey, I'm really not hungry." Jiang Cheng kept his head down and ate the entire time. The sound of him chewing seemed deafening in the silent dining room. Every bite felt like he was chewing up my dignity. My mother tried to help with the dishes. She carefully picked up a plate. Jiang Cheng's voice came from the living room, his disgust unmistakable. "Don't. You'll break something." He sounded like he was chasing off a stray cat. My mother's hand froze in midair. Every trace of color drained from her face. I took the plate and ushered her out of the kitchen. "Mom, go watch TV. I'll handle this." Dinner was even more suffocating. Jiang Cheng scrolled through his phone the whole time. Its glow washed over his face. He looked as cold and lifeless as a statue. My mother tried several times to start a conversation. She asked carefully, "Jiang Cheng, have you been busy at work lately?" He squeezed a single grunt from his throat. His eyes never left his phone for even 1 second. Not once. I placed a piece of fish in my mother's bowl. She seemed to have lost her appetite. She pushed the rice around, but couldn't bring herself to take a bite. The final straw was a game controller. My mother got up for some water. As she passed the couch, she accidentally knocked the controller off the coffee table. It hit the floor with a sharp clack. Jiang Cheng's head snapped up. His eyes instantly flared with rage. With a loud bang, he slammed his bowl and utensils onto the table. The crash of ceramic pierced the room. "Can't you be more careful?" I'm so sorry." "I didn't mean to. That controller cost hundreds. Could you even afford to replace it?" His face twisted with rage. There wasn't a trace left of the mild-mannered architect everyone knew. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood between him and my mother and stared him down. "Jiang Cheng, that's enough!" He looked at me. The fury in his eyes faded into cold contempt. Then he turned and walked into the bedroom. He slammed the door behind him. That thunderous slam felt like a slap across both our faces. I didn't sleep at all that night. Around midnight, I went to the bathroom. I heard my mother inside, speaking quietly to my father on the phone. "Lin, I'm coming home tomorrow." "Yeah, I'm doing fine." "Qingqing's doing great too." "Don't worry." Her voice was thick and nasal. By the end, she could no longer hold back her sobs. Outside the door, I covered my mouth so she wouldn't hear me cry. Before sunrise, At 5 in the morning, my mother had already packed her little suitcase. Ching ching. Mom has to go, something came up at home. She couldn't look me in the eye. Her clumsy lie was heartbreaking. I walked her to the elevator. The dim hallway light stretched her hunched shadow across the floor. The moment the elevator opened, she suddenly turned and pulled me into a hug. She was so thin. Even through her light clothing, I could feel the shape of her bones. Ching ching, Mom won't visit anymore. Please take good care of yourself. That was when the tears broke loose. I held her as tightly as I could, as if I could pull her into my very body. The elevator doors closed without mercy, carrying away the most important person in my life. I leaned against the cold door. My tears fell like a broken string of pearls, and nothing could stop them. I returned to the empty apartment. Jiang Chung strolled out of the bedroom, stretching. When he saw my mother was gone, relief spread across his face. Finally, peace and quiet. Those words were like a poisoned blade, driven straight into the softest part of my heart. I clenched my fists. My nails dug deep into my palms. The sharp pain kept me barely grounded. I said nothing. I simply walked back to the bedroom. My phone screen lit up. It was a message from my mother-in-law. Ching ching, your mom left, right? I'll come stay with you two in a couple of days. The winter solstice is coming. I'll make dumplings. She even added a smiling sticker. News of his mother's visit worked like a shot of adrenaline. Jiang Chung instantly came back to life. The moment he saw her message, his face lit up. His happiness was completely genuine, unlike anything I'd seen in the last 3 days. This is great! My mom's coming! Ching ching, let's go grocery shopping this weekend. We'll get her all her favorite foods. And some supplements too. I stared at him coldly. The irony nearly choked me. Full of excitement, he began cleaning the sunny spare bedroom, beside the master, the room I kept specifically for guests. I pictured my mother curled up in the study on that narrow, rock-hard folding bed. The day before my mother arrived, I'd suggested letting her use the spare room. What had Jiang Chung said then? My design plans are piled up in there. It's a mess. Your mom can sleep in the study. It's only 3 days. But now those supposedly vital plans were tossed into a corner of the study without a second thought. For his mother, he created a bright, spacious room. He grabbed a pen and paper and carefully started a shopping list. Bird's nest, donkey hide gelatin, imported cherries, every item. Expensive enough to be what he usually called a sucker tax. Now those sucker buys were proof of his devotion. When my mother visited, I suggested buying her some fruit. He frowned. Don't we still have apples? Stop wasting money. I'd bought those apples the week before. They were already shriveled. The stark contrast felt like 2 invisible hands slapping me across the face. Finally, I spoke. My voice was colder than I realized. When my mom came, why didn't you put in this much effort? He was too caught up in the joy of seeing his mother again. At my question, annoyance flashed across his face. How is that the same? He asked as if the answer were obvious, his tone full of disbelief. She's my mom. She's my mom. Those 4 simple words opened a chasm, cleanly separating me and my family from him and his. So in this marriage, my mother and I would always be outsiders. While Jiang Chung was in the shower, something compelled me to pick up his phone. I opened his chat with his mother. My fingers trembled with nerves. I scrolled up, back to the day my mother arrived. Did your mother-in-law get there? Yeah, she just arrived. Poor thing, bothering you two again. You already work so hard. And Ching Ching too. Now she has to waste time looking after her. The words sounded considerate, but something about them felt deeply off. I kept scrolling. On my mother's second day there, his mother had sent a photo of herself at a group dance class, smiling brightly. Under it, she'd written, "Your mother-in-law is freeloading at your place again, isn't she? Her daughter's married, yet she keeps inviting herself over. She has no sense of boundaries." My heart seized. For a moment, I stopped breathing. I stared at those words, as if I could burn a hole through the screen. But Jiang Chung's reply chilled me even more. He sent a brief acknowledgement, then wrote, "Mom, don't worry, I know what I'm doing." He knew what he was doing. That meant giving my mother the cold shoulder for 3 days, making her feel unwelcome in my own home, until she fled in humiliation. Rage churned inside my chest like molten lava, nearly breaking through my last shred of control. I kept scrolling, and found even uglier conversations. Ching Ching has no idea how to manage a household. Where does all the money go? I bet she's sending it to her parents. You'd better keep a close eye on her. Don't let her funnel our family's money back to her side of the family. She wouldn't dare. Wait until I come for the winter solstice. I'll straighten her out. That daughter-in-law needs to be put in her place. It'll be better once you're here, Mom. With you around, she won't dare act up. So in their eyes, I was merely an outsider who needed discipline, someone who shouldn't dare step out of line. Our 3 years of marriage, and everything I'd poured into it, were nothing but a joke in the middle of their scheming. With trembling fingers, I took screenshots of every page and saved them. Every screenshot was another knife in my heart, but also a weapon I could use later. I took a deep breath and forced down my anger. Then I messaged my best friend, Su Ching. Su Ging was an attorney, and the person I trusted most. After sending it, I deleted the message history. Then I put his phone back. The night before his mother arrived, at 9 o'clock, the apartment was quiet. Jiang Cheng was in the study, excitedly video chatting with his mother. They were planning what to eat the next day. I entered the bedroom and reached up to the top shelf, pulling down the suitcase I'd brought into this marriage. The zipper tore through the nighttime silence. It sounded unusually harsh in the empty bedroom. The study door suddenly flew open. Hong No rushed in like a gust of wind. When he saw the suitcase by my feet, the smile vanished from his face. Shock and disbelief took its place. "What are you doing?" He stepped toward me, his voice suddenly wary. "Lin Qingqing, what kind of stunt are you pulling now?" "My mom gets here tomorrow." I ignored his interrogation, expressionless. I took my clothes from the closet. One by one, I folded them neatly into the suitcase. "I know," I finally said. My voice was as still as dead water. "That's why I'm leaving." He didn't seem to understand. After staring blankly for several seconds, he snapped, "Are you insane?" He rushed forward and grabbed my wrist. His grip felt strong enough to crush bone. "My mom comes tomorrow. And you're leaving tonight? What will the neighbors think?" "What is my mom supposed to think?" "You're deliberately trying to humiliate me." Finally, I raised my head and looked him straight in the eyes. The eyes I once lost myself in were now filled with agitation and rage, but not 1 ounce of concern for me. I looked at him calmly, then I spoke slowly and clearly. "I'm helping you. I want you to experience being treated with contempt, to know what it's like when every day feels endless." He was instantly speechless. His pupils tightened sharply. He stared at me, as though he were seeing me for the first time. Slowly, but with all my strength, I tore my wrist free. "My mom stayed for 3 days. You smashed 5 bowls. You slammed doors twice. You made her afraid to even breathe. Now your mom plans to move in. I can't fight her, but I can stay out of her way. I'm taking a page from your book. If I don't feel welcome, I won't stay." His face went from red to white, then almost green. His lips trembled, but he couldn't form a complete sentence. "That's different. Your mom, she..." He stammered but couldn't explain how. "How is it different?" With a cold laugh, I pulled out my phone. I opened the album I'd already backed up. I held the screen in front of his face. "Different? Your mom called my mother a freeloader. You answered, 'I know what I'm doing.' Was this what you meant? Your mom said she'd come here and put me in my place. You replied, 'Once you're here, she won't dare act up.' Jiang Cheng, what exactly am I to your mother? An object she can discipline whenever she wants? And what am I to you? Some out-of-control wife your mother needs to keep in line?" Screenshot after screenshot, message after message, landed like one sharp slap after another, right across his face. Jiang Cheng turned white as a sheet. Tiny beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He stumbled over his excuse. "My mom!" "She's just blunt. She speaks without thinking. Don't take it personally." "Blunt?" It sounded like the biggest joke in the world. "My mother is blunt too. Why did she deserve your cold shoulder? Why is your mother precious, while mine is worthless? Tell me, Jiang Cheng, why?" I wasn't shouting, but every word hit where it hurt. My questions backed him into a corner. His eyes darted away. I snapped the suitcase shut. The click was crisp and final. "My mother raised me for over 20 years. She didn't do that so I could marry into your family and be humiliated by you and your mother." He panicked completely. He reached for me. I slapped his hand away and stepped back in disgust. "Don't touch me, you make me sick." I pulled my suitcase toward the front door. While changing my shoes, I stopped. I turned toward the devastated man behind me and delivered the final blow. "By the way, I've already spoken to an attorney about getting a divorce. Before your mother arrives, you should decide what you're going to do." I gave him no time to respond. I opened the door and dragged my suitcase outside. As I closed the door, I thought I heard him screaming hysterically inside. I leaned against the cold security door and slowly exhaled. 3 years of pain finally seemed to have found a way out. Jiang Cheng, this battle was only beginning. Then I remembered one more thing. I pulled out my phone and sent him one last message. When your mother arrives tomorrow, tell her, I saw every nasty little message she sent you, and the last time she visited. When she called my mom an ignorant old country bumpkin. I recorded that too. Message sent. Peace at last. Suitcase in hand, I called a car on the quiet nighttime street. I went straight to a downtown hotel. I checked in, swiped my keycard, and moved through it all with an observer's calm. Only after throwing myself onto the soft bed did my phone start vibrating nonstop. Every message was from Jiang Cheng. Qingqing, where did you go? Please stop this. Come home, I was wrong. I really was wrong. Come back and we'll talk, I'm begging you. My mom arrives tomorrow. How am I supposed to explain this to her? Then came voice message after voice message. I played one. Jiang Cheng's panicked, tearful voice immediately came through the speaker. Honey, please come back. I'm begging you. I shouldn't have treated your mother like that. I shouldn't have said those awful things. It was all my fault. His voice was full of fear and desperation, but not a trace of genuine remorse. He wasn't afraid of losing me. He was afraid he couldn't answer to his mother tomorrow. He feared his perfect devoted son image would collapse. I laughed coldly, turned off the notifications, and silenced my phone. Then I called Suqing. Suqing? I left, meet me tomorrow. Bring a divorce agreement template. Subing didn't ask any questions. She answered with one decisive word. Okay. That was real friendship. She always understood me. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the hotel's floor-to-ceiling windows. It felt warm and peaceful. I'd slept better than I had in 3 years. Jiang Cheng's messages were still flooding in. I glanced at them. The latest said, my mom is already on the train. She'll arrive this afternoon. Please come home. This family needs you. Without expression, I blocked his number, along with his mother's. Both went straight onto my block list. The world was finally silent. At 3 that afternoon, an unfamiliar number called. I answered. Immediately, my mother-in-law's shrill voice came through, like nails on glass. Lin Qingqing! What is this supposed to mean? I traveled all this way, and now you disappear on me? You think you're too good for us now? I calmly turned on my phone's recorder. Ma'am, I said evenly, I didn't disappear. I'm simply following Jiang Cheng's hosting playbook. If I'm not welcome, I shouldn't stay home and get in the way. She went silent for a moment. Then her anger exploded. You ungrateful brat! You selfish little ingrate! My son supported you for 3 years. And this is how you repay him? What kind of mother raised you? Did she teach you to disrespect your husband's family? Her vicious insults poured through the phone like raw sewage. I held the phone away from my ear. With a cold laugh, I said, please continue. Don't stop, I'm recording. The nastier you get, the more useful this may be when a judge considers compensation for emotional distress. That shut her up. Then she roared, you dare divorce my son? I'm warning you, Lin Qingqing. If you divorce him, you'll leave with nothing. My son bought that apartment before the marriage. You don't own a penny of it. Finally, we'd reached her real concern. I gave a small laugh and replied slowly, ma'am, you may have forgotten. The down payment was 300,000 yuan. You and your husband paid half. The other 150,000 was my mother's wedding gift to me. The mortgage totaled 1.2 million yuan. For 3 years, I made 36 monthly payments of 5,000. That's 180,000 yuan. Every payment came directly from my paycheck. Your son, Jiang Cheng, contributed his eligibility to buy and his name on the deed. So if this goes to court, we'll see who actually walks away with nothing. The line went completely silent. I could picture the shock and disbelief on her face. For years, I'd worked relentlessly, paying down the mortgage, while she and her son comfortably assumed Jiang Cheng deserved all the credit. To them, I was just a parasite living off him. You're lying! She finally found her voice, but she no longer sounded confident. I was done wasting words on her. I hung up. I thought that would quiet her down. But an hour later, the receptionist at my office called. Qingqing, some woman is causing a scene downstairs. She's demanding to see you. Security is holding her back. Do you want to come down? I walked to the window. Sure enough, I saw a familiar figure, throwing a tantrum outside the building. My mother-in-law was acting completely unhinged, pounding on the glass doors and screaming abuse at everyone inside. I immediately messaged a trusted coworker. I need a favor. Go downstairs and use your phone to record that woman causing a scene. Stay back so she doesn't notice. My coworker quickly sent me the video. In it, my mother-in-law stood with her hands on her hips, pointing at the office building and screaming at the top of her lungs. Lin Qingqing, get down here. You shameless little homewrecker. You stole my son's money. And now you want a divorce? over my dead body. Her performance drew a growing crowd. The security guards tried awkwardly to calm her. The video quickly spread through the company group chat. Before long, the HR director called my desk phone. "Ching Ching, come to my office." I entered the director's office. She motioned for me to sit. Her expression was serious. "I heard what happened downstairs. It may be personal, but it's now affecting the company's image. Can you tell me what's going on?" I hid nothing, but I didn't exaggerate either. Calmly, I explained the pain I'd endured for 3 years. Jiang Cheng's double standards, his mother's constant manipulation, and everything that led me to leave. I told her exactly what had happened. After hearing my story, the HR director, a senior professional and a woman herself, looked at me with understanding and sympathy. "Ching Ching, you have my support. If you need the company to intervene or provide legal assistance, just say the word." I nodded. Warmth spread through my chest. "Thank you. I can handle it." Leaving her office, I watched the video of my mother-in-law's tantrum. My resolve hardened. "Mrs. Jiang, you tore away your own sweet, kindly disguise. So don't blame me when your cruelty and stupidity finally cost you." That evening, Jiang Cheng finally appeared outside my office. He looked exhausted. In one day, he seemed to have aged 10 years. His greasy hair clung to his forehead. His eyes were bloodshot, and dark stubble covered his chin. When he saw me, he rushed over as if I were his last hope. He grabbed my arm. His voice was hoarse. "Ching Ching, come home with me." I tried to yank my arm away, but he tightened his grip. "My mom, she talks tough, but she has a soft heart. She didn't really mean those insults. She lost her temper. Please come home. I promise I'll stop her from saying things like that again." His voice was full of desperation. My coworkers walked past us as they left work, casting curious glances our way. I didn't want to struggle with him there and make a public scene. "So your mother gets to storm into my workplace, humiliate me in front of my entire company, and somehow I'm the problem?" I questioned him coldly. "I'm supposed to endure it? Just take it? Smile at someone who points in my face and calls me a homewrecker? Is that what you expect?" I wasn't loud, but everyone nearby heard every word. Jiang Cheng's face turned dark red. Feeling everyone's eyes on him, he blurted, "Can't you be the bigger person? She's my mother. She's your elder. Do you know how far she traveled to get here? Can't you do this for me? And just let it go?" His desperate excuses hit me like ice water, extinguishing my last trace of hope. My coworkers began whispering nearby. "What kind of logic is that? His mother causes a scene at her workplace, and his wife has to be the bigger person? He's a total mama's boy. That's terrifying. Poor Ching Ching. Imagine marrying into that family." Their whispers were like tiny needles, piercing Jiang Cheng's pride and my heart. Suddenly, it all felt absurd. I looked at the man I had loved for 6 years. We'd gone from college to marriage. I'd believed we were made for each other. Only now did I realize I hadn't married a man. I'd married an overgrown child still attached to his mother, and the controlling woman who ruled him. At that moment, every feeling I had for him died. Calmly and clearly, I said, "Jiang Cheng, let's get divorced." His entire body jolted. His eyes went wide. Even his voice changed. "What did you say?" I raised my voice, making sure he heard me, along with every concerned onlooker nearby. "I said we're getting divorced. Meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow at 9. My attorney has already drafted the agreement. If you agree, we can separate peacefully. If you don't, I'll see you in court." He completely panicked. He reached for my hand, but I stepped aside. "Ching Ching, calm down. This isn't worth ending our marriage over." He rambled incoherently, his eyes filled with fear. "I am calm." I looked at him and spoke one deliberate word at a time. "Jiang Cheng, I've had enough. To you, your mother is royalty. Mine is some country relative you can treat however you want. In your mind, everything your mother says is law, while my feelings mean nothing. I didn't marry you to support your entire family, or to become your emotional punching bag. Tomorrow at 9, meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau. If you don't show up, you can wait for the court summons." I walked away decisively, without a trace of hesitation. "Jiang Cheng, enjoy performing your one-man show." I was done watching. Back at the hotel, the first thing I did was call my mother. I wanted to tell her I decided to divorce him, and that she didn't need to worry. The moment she answered, her anxious voice came through. "Ching Ching, your mother-in-law came to our hometown." My heart clenched. "Mom, did she do anything to you? Did she give you trouble?" My mother was silent for several seconds. Then I heard her laugh. There was relief and satisfaction in that laugh. She certainly tried. But sweetheart, I stood up for you this time. I recorded every word she said. My eyes instantly filled with tears. My mother had always been quiet and honest, the kind of woman who blushed when speaking up. But for me, she'd learned how to protect herself and her daughter. Mom, play it for me. She opened the recording on her phone. My mother-in-law's cutting voice immediately came through. It sounded as if she were right beside me. Look at the wonderful daughter you raised. My son treated her like a queen. And now, she thinks she can divorce him? What did our family do to deserve such a curse for a daughter-in-law? Let me make this clear. Men in the Zhang family do not get divorced. If Lin Qingqing wants one, fine, she leaves with nothing. She won't take a single cent from us. You spoiled your daughter rotten. She can't even take care of a husband. She hasn't given us a child in 3 years. Yet she has the nerve to demand a divorce? Absolutely not. In the recording, I could even hear her pounding the table. When your family married off your daughter, weren't you only interested in my son's city residency and his good job? Now she thinks she can dump him? Your family only wanted his money. What's a 150,000 yuan contribution? My son's salary for the last 3 years was completely wasted by your daughter. Here's my final word. Make your daughter come back and apologize to my son, or I'll make sure she can't stay in that city. People from tiny towns like yours have no class. She was never good enough for my son. Her poisonous words were like venom-coated knives, each one stabbing me in the heart. She continued ranting in the recording. Then, my mother's calm voice cut in. Mrs. Zhang, are you finished? My mother's sudden composure apparently stunned her into silence. My mother continued. I recorded every word you just said. That includes insulting my daughter, insulting our entire family, and accusing us of trying to take everything you own. In the recording, my mother-in-law gasped. You recorded me? Her voice was full of panic and disbelief. Yes, I did. My mother wasn't loud, but her voice was powerful. My daughter wants a divorce, and I'm her biggest supporter. With a mother-in-law like you, any decent woman who marries your son would have the worst luck in the world. Leaving your family means escaping a nightmare. I couldn't be happier for her. Never come here again, and stay away from my daughter. Otherwise, I'll send this recording to your neighborhood group chat and to your son's supervisors and co-workers. Everyone can hear what this sweet, caring mother-in-law is really like. The recording ended there. I could imagine my mother-in-law's face, furious, yet completely powerless. Mom, my voice broke. I couldn't say another word. Qingqing, don't cry. My mother comforted me. I was too weak before. I kept telling you to endure everything in that family. I let you suffer so much. But I understand now. We don't have to take this. Get divorced. Mom will take care of you. After we hung up, I could no longer control my emotions. I hugged a pillow and sobbed. It was release. It was pain, but also overwhelming love. Early the next morning, while I was still asleep, frantic knocking woke me. I assumed it was hotel staff. But when I opened the door, my exhausted mother stood there. She held a suitcase. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. She clearly hadn't slept. She'd taken the earliest high-speed train to reach me. Mom! I threw my arms around her. All my strength and composure collapsed in the warmth of her embrace. We held each other and cried in the hotel room. Qingqing, I failed you. I let you suffer so much. She stroked my hair, her voice heavy with guilt. Mom, it wasn't your fault. I was blind. I chose the wrong man. I wiped away my tears and lifted my head from her shoulder. After crying, much of the resentment inside me seemed to fade. I sat down with my mother and showed her everything that had happened, along with every piece of evidence, screenshots of the messages, the video of my mother-in-law outside my office, and the truly damning recording she had just sent me. My mother studied the evidence, trembling with anger. That mother and son have gone too far. Together in the hotel room, we carefully organized every piece of evidence. Messages, bank records, audio and video, nothing was missed. Looking at the thick stack of documents, I felt a determination unlike anything before. Jiang Cheng, Mrs. Jiang, everything you owe me, and everything you owe my mother, I would make you repay twice over. At 9 the next morning, my mother, my best friend, and attorney Su Qing arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau with me. The sun was bright and warm against our skin. When we arrived, Jiang Cheng and his mother were already waiting. My mother-in-law had clearly dressed for the occasion, and she hadn't come alone. 2 large, intimidating women stood beside her. They looked like backups she'd brought from home. Both were openly hostile, ready for a confrontation. The moment she saw me, her face filled with hatred. She charged forward and began her performance with a finger in my face. "Everyone, look! This is the shameless woman." She spent my son's money, lived in his apartment, and couldn't even give him a child in 3 years. Now she wants a divorce and half our property. Her voice was shrill and deafening. Everyone waiting nearby immediately turned toward us. In an instant, we became the center of attention. My mother's face went pale with anger. She tried to step forward, but I held her back. Without drawing attention, Suging switched on the recorder in her briefcase. When I didn't react, my mother-in-law became even louder. Her 2 relatives closed in from both sides, backing up every accusation. The surrounding whispers grew louder. Everyone seemed to have an opinion. Jiang Cheng stood behind his mother, looking embarrassed. Several times he tried to stop her, but one glare from her silenced him. Just as she reached the height of her performance, my mother raised her phone and pressed play. Really, then perhaps everyone should hear who said the things in this recording. My mother-in-law's familiar, vicious voice blasted from the phone and echoed through the entire lobby. Every word in the recording cut deep. The once noisy lobby fell completely silent. Every pair of eyes shifted away from me and landed on my mother-in-law. Her flushed face turned purple, then white. The crowd's opinion changed instantly. Wow, that mother-in-law has a vicious mouth. So she bullied her daughter-in-law into divorce. And she was pretending to be the victim. My mother-in-law flew into a rage. Pointing at my mother, she stammered, "You secretly recorded me." Suging calmly stepped forward and shielded my mother. Addressing my mother-in-law and everyone around us, she said clearly, "Ma'am, this recording can serve as evidence that you repeatedly subjected my client to verbal abuse and emotional mistreatment. And regarding your claim that my client wasted your son's salary, these documents may clarify the facts." Sugeng handed the papers to a stunned Jiang Cheng. "These are Ms. Lin Qingqing's payroll transfer records from the last 3 years and an itemized list of household expenses. They include a monthly mortgage payment of 5,000 yuan, 500 yuan for utilities, property fees, and gas, and roughly 3,000 yuan per month for general living expenses. Mr. Jiang Cheng's salary, aside from occasional personal purchases, has mostly remained in his investment accounts. Mrs. Jiang, do you still believe my client squandered your son's salary and drained your family dry?" Suging paused, then added something else. She wasn't loud, but her words landed like a bomb. "Oh, one more thing. Half the down payment on that apartment, which was 150,000 yuan, came from Ms. Lin Qingqing's mother. It was a premarital gift to her daughter. Legally, that money is Ms. Lin Qingqing's separate property. The 180,000 yuan paid toward the mortgage during marriage, along with the corresponding increase in value, is marital property. My client has the right to half." The entire lobby erupted. Jiang Cheng held the documents, his hands shaking like leaves in the wind. He stared at his mother, his eyes filled with shock, anger, and disbelief. "Mom, did you really say those things? Did you really confront Qingqing's mother?" His mother turned white as a sheet. Faced with her son's unfamiliar expression, she panicked. I only said it because I was angry. Qingqing, don't believe their lies. They're working together. They're trying to steal your money." Jiang Cheng said nothing. He lowered his head and slowly turned through the pages. Every transfer, every number felt like a red-hot brand, burning into his heart. He'd always believed he supported the household. He'd always believed every cent Lin Qingqing spent was a gift from him. Now the truth had been brutally exposed. Only then did he realize he was the overgrown child being supported, and his mother, the woman he had always loved and obeyed, had become the cruelest destroyer of his marriage. Time seemed to stop. Jiang Cheng stood frozen, clutching the documents tightly. The edges crumpled beneath his fingers. Scenes from our 3-year marriage raced through his mind like a movie. He remembered the nights I came home late from work, exhausted yet still made him a late-night meal. He would take one bite and complain it was only average. "My mom's braised pork is better." He remembered last winter, when I had a fever of 39 degrees Celsius. I lay alone in bed. Just as he was about to buy medicine, his mother called. She was having dinner with her dance friends and wanted him there to impress them. He hesitated briefly, then left his feverish wife and drove away. Whenever his mother visited, he treated it like a holiday. He took time off to entertain her and showered her with gifts. But when Lin Qingqing's mother visited, he couldn't even offer her a friendly expression. He thought she interrupted their private life. He believed she carried a smell of the countryside. It wasn't that he couldn't be thoughtful. It wasn't that he couldn't give. He had simply given all his care and generosity to his mother. For his wife, he had only selfish demands. and condescending criticism, the devotion he'd always been so proud of, was only selfishness and foolishness disguised as love. "So it was me," Jiang Cheng whispered. His voice was filled with regret. With a heavy thud, in front of everyone, Jiang Cheng dropped to both knees and bowed toward me. "Qingqing, I'm sorry." He looked up. Tears covered his face. "I'm a horrible person. I'm not worthy of you. I failed you, and I failed your mother. My mom manipulated me. I always thought being a good son meant obeying her unconditionally. I believed everything she did was for my benefit. I was wrong, I finally understand. Please give me one more chance." He sobbed through his confession and tried to crawl over and grab my feet. I looked at him without emotion, as if he were a stranger with nothing to do with me. "Jiang Cheng, do you know something? My heart started dying 3 years ago. The first time you treated my mother with contempt. It was already over. Your apology came too late. So late that I no longer need it." His body went rigid. He knelt there like a statue of despair. I had no interest in looking at him again. I turned to Suqing and my mother. "Let's go inside and finish the paperwork." Behind me came Jiang Cheng's heartbroken sobs and his mother's vicious cursing, but none of it had anything to do with me now. I walked through the entrance, never looking back. Goodbye, Jiang Cheng. Goodbye to the 3 years I had lost. When the divorce certificate was placed in my hands, I felt neither the excitement nor sadness I'd expected. I was strangely calm. It felt like the aftermath of a devastating storm. Scarred, but finally peaceful. Outside the building, the sunlight was almost blinding. My mother stepped forward and held me tightly. "Qingqing, don't be afraid. This time I'm taking you home. We'll start over together." I buried my face in her warm embrace and nodded firmly. Early the next morning, I arrived at work to find a disaster. Outside our office, the polished marble wall had been covered in bright red paint. Someone had sprayed several crooked words. "Lin Qingqing is trash! Lin Qingqing, come out!" The red paint looked like dried blood, filled with pure malice. Before I recovered from the shock, my messages began flooding in. A coworker sent screenshots from my neighborhood group chat. An anonymous account was spreading vicious rumors. It claimed I had cheated, hidden marital assets, and abused my mother-in-law. As I entered the office, my coworkers gave me strange looks and whispered among themselves. I calmly took out my phone and called the police. "Hello, officer. I need to report a crime. Someone vandalized the entrance to my workplace and publicly defamed and humiliated me. I want them held legally responsible." The police soon arrived, photographed the scene, and obtained the building's security footage. The video clearly showed that shortly after 4 that morning, my former mother-in-law and her 2 relatives had crept up to the building and carried out the vandalism. The evidence was undeniable. I forwarded the footage to Suqing. "Prepare the lawsuit. Defamation and intentional property damage. I'm taking her to court." Suma replied, "Don't worry. She won't get away with it. This time she'll face the full consequences." That afternoon, Jiang Cheng sent me a private message. In the neighborhood group chat, using his verified personal account, he posted a long public statement. He explained the real reason for our divorce, admitted his mistakes and double standards, and described how his mother had manipulated and mistreated me for years. Finally, he begged everyone to stop believing the rumors and hurting an innocent victim. Then he sent me a message that was almost painfully humble. "Qingqing, I'm sorry. I've let you suffer again. I'll take responsibility for what my mother did. I'll compensate you for the emotional harm and reimburse your company for all property damage. Please, for my sake, don't sue her. She's getting older. She can't handle this." I stared at his message, finding it incredibly ironic. Even now, he was still trying to protect his mother. I replied, "Jiang Cheng, this isn't about whether she can handle it. This is about her facing the consequences of her actions. Adults are responsible for what they do. You want to take responsibility for her? Fine. You can join her as a defendant." My refusal clearly surprised him. He didn't respond. The police soon used the footage to locate my former mother-in-law. When officers arrived to question her, she wailed through the neighborhood, throwing herself to the ground. She screamed at the gathered neighbors, "Where is the justice? My daughter-in-law is suing an old woman. I might as well die." Unfortunately for her, the performance earned no sympathy this time. The court eventually delivered its judgment. First, the defendant, Ms. Jiang, shall compensate Ms. Lin Qingqing for emotional harm and property damage in the amount of 50,000 yuan. Second, the defendant shall publish an apology on the notice board of the plaintiff's residential complex and her company website for 7 consecutive days, publicly apologizing to the plaintiff. Third, the defendant shall pay all court costs. The the moment she heard the verdict. Jiang Cheng's mother rolled her eyes back and fainted on the spot. Court officers and medical staff rushed over. The courtroom descended into chaos. Jiang Cheng, once so arrogant, heard the judgment, and his legs gave out. He collapsed onto the cold courtroom floor and let out an animal-like wail. 6 months after the divorce, my life felt like a race car with a full tank, speeding into a brand new lane. Thanks to my years of project experience and the composure I showed throughout the divorce, my company promoted me to department director. The day I moved into my new home, my mother was even happier than I was. It was a 2-bedroom apartment near my office. I used my divorce settlement for the down payment. My mother moved in with me. She transformed the small balcony into a vibrant little garden. Every day we cooked together and took walks together. On weekends, we shopped and watched movies. She smiled more than she had during the previous 3 years combined. At a department dinner, my coworkers joked, "Director Lin, you're practically glowing now. Did something wonderful happen?" I smiled and raised my glass. Absolutely. Does getting my life back count?